Hey guys, Julie here, and today I will show off the Korean art supplies that I managed to take home. I actually had a bunch of them, but unfortunately, while I was packing up my life to move back to Canada, I had to get rid of some of them. And by get rid of, I mean I gave them away to friends. I will show you everything I brought back with me. I just finished filming a review slash test on these vintage colored pencils that I have here. I have a video on my channel, Thrifting for Art Supplies. It's something that I like to do when I go to thrift stores. And I found these Prang colored pencils. I forget what year they were from. I think maybe from the 90s. They're at least 25 years old, around there. Maybe even older, who knows. But these are Prang colored pencils, artist quality, pre-sharpened, 24 colored pencils, thick smooth cores. By the time I post this video, that video will be out. I'll link it down below in case you're interested. But the reason why I decided to film what I ended up drawing in this video is because I drew Shin Ramyun, which is like the ramen of Korea, or ramen, however you want to pronounce it. And the funny thing about this ramen is that it's actually used as a spice benchmark. So when you go to a lot of restaurants in Korea, they'll show the different spice levels, like 0, level 1, and then in brackets it'll say Shin Ramyun, so that you know that it's that level of spicy, and then it goes from there. So I thought that was kind of funny. But anyways, I'll link that down below. I did film a video on a Daiso in Korea haul, because Daiso, the Japanese everything store, dollar store, it is really popular in Korea. So I wanted to show you the Korean options. And actually, a lot of the items that are sold there are made in Korea. This one is made in China. Bad example. A lot of them are made in Korea. I do have a haul that I will also link below, and that has a lot of supplies that I wasn't able to take back home with me. So if you enjoyed this and you want to see more Korean art supplies, feel free to have a look at that video. So these here are poster colors, and I have a bit of a crack theory. You know the Himi Maya jelly gouache and all the other gouache sets like it? I have a theory that they might actually be poster colors. How are they so affordable? And why are they in little tins, just like these poster colors? Maybe they are the same thing, just marketed as something different. So who knows? Poster colors are similar to gouache. There we go. Poster colors are similar to gouache. They are nearly identical. Apparently the particles in poster colors, the pigment particles, are a lot bigger. I had to move my bird to the other room because he was still squawking. I have a lovebird and 2 budgies. So the budgies are really quiet. They're still in my room. I just moved the lovebird. He's a little naughtier compared to the other 2. The difference between poster colors and gouache is that poster colors have larger pigment particles, so they don't absorb into paper the same way that gouache does. It's a little bit easier to lift and cheaper to make. So this whole pack was 5,000 won, which is about $5 Canadian, which is a pretty great deal. Another thing about poster colors is that they are not light fast. They're meant to be used in work that's scanned in. So think backgrounds of different animated movies and TV shows. That's what I heard. I don't know too much about poster colors. Apparently these are the kinds of paints that were used in the background of Studio Ghibli films. I'm not sure if it's all of them or just some of them, but I'll show you here. Like, look how beautiful that is. I honestly can't tell the difference between gouache and poster colors. Like, come on. And it will dry matte, and I'll show you that as well. It's a nice set of colors. Here, I'll show you. But yeah, for $5 $6. That was a pretty great deal. I was curious. I did not know what poster colors were, and when I tried them out, I was like, whoa, these are just like jelly gouache. I also got these professional watercolors. You know, a lot of art supplies are advertised as professional. I don't know if they actually are. The brand is Shinhan Professional Watercolors, and this is actually a popular brand. I honestly associate it more with student grade supplies, but I've seen this brand all over the place in Korea. Like these ones here are advertised as artist qualities, but I guess you'll have to watch that video to hear my thoughts. Spoiler alert, not entirely convinced, but you be the judge. I actually haven't used these, and this was the first art supply I bought from Korea. I found them at a random stationery store, and I was so excited to see just an art supply in general, because at that point I was looking around, but I wasn't able to find any. Turns out I lived really close to an actual art store, which funnily enough, I didn't end up buying anything from there. I really wanted to take home a really nice set of watercolors from Korea as a souvenir for myself, but at the same time, I have so many watercolor sets at home and I didn't want to be wasteful. I'm not gonna grab a palette because I'm kind of lazy. It is a lazy day today. I wasn't even planning to swatch any of these. I wasn't planning to, but you know, I have to show you guys how this stuff works, right? Otherwise, what kind of haul is it? Okay, I'll bring you closer. Look how beautiful that is. Come on. That is gorgeous. And with these watercolors specifically, I will film an actual video of me using them. So that'll be a separate thing. Another thing I got from Daiso are these fine liner pens. And they're 0.4, they come with a variety of colors. These were about $2 Canadian. And I just thought it was a pretty great deal, and I love these colors. They're like pastel. And they work fine. They're just like regular fine liners. I like lining my work, so I got these because I wanted to line my work in different colors in hopes that it would add some kind of visual interest. And I don't remember if these are waterproof, but let's see. Nope, not waterproof. Not waterproof, but that's fine. Good to know. Okay, so one thing that Korea art shops, especially Art Box, it's a popular stationery store in Korea, is known for is their gorgeous coloring books. And they are so beautiful. I can't even begin to describe their adult coloring books and what they look like and the kind of art that's in them. Absolutely gorgeous. And while they are gorgeous, the art style for a lot of them did not suit me personally, but I was always so tempted by them. So I did finally find one that I liked, and keep in mind they're normally a lot more detailed than the one here, but the reason I got this book is because I specifically wanted to practice my gouache in this book. I thought it would be a nice way to do that because the artist here is a gouache artist. So I thought it'd be nice to get a book that could help essentially guide me into learning gouache. I think when you don't have to worry about line art, especially if you're an amateur artist like I am, then it just removes one of the barriers to creating art. But this is actually on nice, beautifully thick paper, which is something that you don't see here. But in Korea, you can find watercolor coloring books. They are not as common as the colored pencil ones, but that's why I bought this. It's because I knew I could use gouache on this paper. So it's nice and smooth. There's a little bit of tooth to it, but not much. And it's really cool because it shows you the finished piece here, and then you have the line art here that you can fill in, and it's not perforated, but there is like a dotted line here if you wanted to cut it out. And the great thing about this book is that the way it's binded, it's still new, so I haven't really opened it. The way it's binded is that it's meant to sit flat. I think they call it perfect binding. It is amazing, and I love the artwork. It looked really nice. It seemed easy enough to follow. So it's like complex but simple at the same time, and I think that's what I need when learning how to gouache. And each page, like, they are not stingy with the amount of artwork that they have here. So each page is a new piece of art. It is beautiful. Like, look at that. I really like this art style. Normally it is more complex, but I just love it. I can't even begin to describe how much I love this style. So I'm really excited to dive in, and I'll definitely film videos of me filling out this book, because I think it's like a really nice way to just turn your brain off and just paint, you know? I guess that's why people like coloring books. It's because they are relaxing, and sometimes line work stresses me out. Especially, you know, with all the erasing and redrawing. I'm not the best artist, I'll be the first to admit that, but I enjoy it, and that's what matters in the end. So I will try to find a link to this. It might be tough to order it online, especially internationally. This is probably my most favorite thing that I brought home with me. A brush pen that's still in the package. I never used it. You know what? Why don't we use it today? Let's get rid of this package. I'll recycle that. And let's see what this is about. Oh, that's nice. And those are individual hairs there. Can you see that? They are individual hairs. So it's not a sponge, it's an actual brush. That's awesome. I wonder if the ink runs out, if I could use it as kind of a dip pen if the hairs are still in place. But look how thin you can go with that. That's amazing. This one here is made in China. Oh no, you know, I didn't get this from Daiso. I got it from Artbox. I don't even remember that. Oh, it was about $1.50 Canadian. Okay, let's see if it's waterproof. Nope, not waterproof. Definitely not waterproof. Ooh, okay, that's fine. I thought it would just be nice to have, because brush pens like this are pretty expensive when they are waterproof, like the Pentel, what is it called? The pocket brush pen. It's kind of expensive, but it works amazingly. So I guess I was looking for an alternative when I found this. I thought it would be a great deal for what it is. And it's nice, but you know, if it's not waterproof, then that makes it tough because I work mostly with watercolor. Next, I have these colored pencils here, and this is another very popular brand, definitely student grade. A lot of my students, when I was teaching English in Korea, they had these colored pencils, so I saw them around quite a bit, and I did use them, as you can see. I did use them a few times, so they're just your regular student grade colored pencils. I don't remember how much I paid for this. I really don't remember. I don't think it was a ton, but probably more than a box of Crayola. Oh, they are really nice and smooth. I haven't used these in a long time, so maybe that's why. I'm surprised. Wow, okay. Oh, that's actually really nice. I'm not really good at using colored pencils, like when it comes to blending and stuff, but let's see. How do you blend with colored pencils? I don't know. If you guys have tips, let me know. They're not as soft as Prismacolor Premier colored pencils, but I'm getting like Prismacolor Scholar vibes. Oh, this is a really similar color, and I picked the best colors for this. They're really similar. Okay, wait, hold on. Brought in a yellow. Okay, here we go. I will try to find links to everything down below, but honestly, aside from the coloring book, like I don't think any of these are that special. Like, you could probably find a local version that works the same or better. But these colored pencils are really nice. They're definitely like giving me Prismacolor Scholar sort of vibes, which sometimes I prefer over Premier. Like, sometimes I feel like the Premier colored pencils are a bit too soft. Am I doing this right? I don't know if I'm doing this right. Let me know in the comments if I'm actually doing this right. Okay, something like that. Is that a nice blend? Anyways, these are really nice. I'm surprised. I don't know why I didn't remember how nice and soft these were, because they really feel like butter. I'm very impressed. I mean, if these are student grade, I guess they're really high quality student grade. I don't think it says anything about them being professional necessarily, and I mean, a lot of my students had these exact same colored pencils, so I'm gonna guess they weren't artist grade, but come on. That's really nice, right? Doesn't that look nice and smooth? Okay, I don't want to spoil, but after working with these Prang colored pencils, these artist quality colored pencils, I'll say there's a bit of a difference there, and these were very satisfying. Okay, anyways, I'll put that to the side. I have another coloring book. I wanted to include it here, but it's not for me. It got a little dinged up during travel, but it's fine. It traveled across the globe, so that's to be expected. I actually got this for one of my really good friends who wants to get into watercolor art, and she loves doing like the botanical stuff. I thought this was really like her style, and it has some instructions on how to draw different things or paint different things, and you have to practice here. Right? It teaches you like how to paint a petal and how to mix colors. So you do a bit of training first, there's like orientation, and then after that, similar to the other coloring books, and like a lot of coloring books, like Korean coloring books, you have the finished piece here and then the line art here that you can practice on. And I like that better, honestly. I think if you're trying to learn, I like that better. Or even if you're not, like, you don't necessarily have to copy what's here, but it can give you inspiration or some idea of a color palette. And I like how simple it is. Like, it's just simple line work and you just focus on the watercolor. So I think this is perfect for having her practice how to paint. And again, she doesn't have to worry about drawing on her own. She could just focus on the watercolor art. So I think this is amazing. And again, this is actually watercolor paper. There were a lot of similar coloring books, but they were for colored pencils. So I'm glad I got this one here. And I ordered this one as well as the other one. I will try to find a link for this and to all the supplies, like I said. I have 2 more items left. So the first one is this, and I really wanted to bring back a set of children's watercolors. The price of these were about $4 Canadian. It comes in 12 colors, 6mm each, and I found these at a random stationery shop. Let me open these up, and I do really want to do a video on these watercolors. When I was teaching in Korea, I led a summer camp class, and we worked with watercolors. So I was so intrigued by these watercolors. It was kind of like annoying to work with because I asked for watercolor palettes, but I was given a bunch of these and I had to squeeze them out myself into palettes and then clean the palettes between each session, so it got really messy. But anyways, I really fell in love with these watercolors. Look at them. They're in like plastic tubes. They're so cute. They're so cute. So I thought they'd be so fun to play with. And I bought some from Daiso. It was a big set of like 36 colors. Those ones, unfortunately, I wanted to take them home with me. I had to throw them out. They were too big. And then I regretted throwing it out because I ended up buying this one like a week later, and I just could have kept the little tubes and chose specific colors instead of keeping the whole thing. But in my mind, it was like all or nothing. For some reason, I feel kind of bad that I was wasteful there. But anyways, I hope these are better quality. I don't know about this brand necessarily. I remember when I worked with them at the summer camp, like I was helping kids mix colors, I remember being quite impressed with these. Okay, let's see. But I know the Dyson ones were a bit disappointing. Oh no! Okay, this happened with the Dyson ones. Like, I think that you gotta give them a shake because the pigment and the binder separates. Okay, let's try this again. That looks a bit more promising. It is more liquid than I remember. Okay. Not as nice as I remember. My students did make some beautiful art with it. I don't remember if I still have pictures, but I'll try to look for them. Hopefully I do. Let's do this color here. So the ones from Daiso, it was like 36 colors for $5, whereas the set was 12 colors for $4. So the Daiso one was a better deal, but I was hoping these would be better quality. This is already looking more promising. Maybe I didn't shake the other one well enough, but... Ooh. Oh, that's really pretty. Look at that. It almost looks like a gouache. I think I put too much. But... Ah, that is pretty. I do plan to make a separate video on these watercolors here, so you can stay tuned for that, but this is quite nice. Maybe I need to shake them all a bit more before I use them, but I think that would be an interesting video. The last thing that I got is another watercolor-esque coloring book, but instead of a book, they're just a few pages. And I think this was like $5. For this one here, I got this for $15, and the other coloring book was a bit more. I think that was closer to $20. Okay, I'm not gonna fish this out, but you can see it comes with a paintbrush. So, flower holding girl, watercolor painting, card ×4, that's what it says. These are the different watercoloring sheets that come in this package. I just thought it was so cute. Look at that. So beautiful, so feminine. I love it. And it comes with watercolor sheets. So these are actual paint sheets that you can use. Think like the Viva watercolor sheets? Think that, but they're just on a single piece of paper and it's just enough for the 4 drawings. Amazing. Amazing. Why doesn't this kind of stuff exist here? We have 4 of these, and this is watercolor paper. It doesn't feel like it's cotton, but it's thick enough and it's very flat. So maybe some kind of hot pressed paper. And it did travel in my watercolor pad, but you know, again, traveled halfway across the world. So they're a bit dinged up. Look how beautiful. Look at that. Look at that line art. How gorgeous. Beautiful. I'm so excited to color these in on camera. And again, it's really nice to not have to worry about the line art because it just takes so much energy and thought. And sometimes you just want to paint. And it says here, meet you like the wind, how wonderful life is while you're in the world. No idea what it means. I love it. That is the last of it. I got these coloring sheets. I have this coloring book here, colored pencils, some children's watercolors, fine liners, some regular watercolors, poster colors, and lastly, coloring book. And I think out of everything I got, my absolute favorite is this. I also quite enjoy these coloring sheets. And I think these are pretty nostalgic. They just bring me back to that summer camp I taught. I'll try to find those pictures. Hopefully I saved some because those kids were so creative. But anyways, these are all the things I brought back from Korea. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please check out my other videos that I mentioned in this one. I will have them linked below. And stay tuned for a video of me painting this here and doing like a little review of these watercolors. So interesting. I also plan to do videos of coloring this in, as well as a video on these lovely watercolors. These watercolors as well, and if I'm brave enough, the poster colors. I might film some videos of me using the poster colors in this book here. So a lot to come. I really appreciate you checking this out. I truly hope you enjoyed this. If you have any questions or comments, feel free to add them down below. As usual, like, comment, subscribe, hit that bell, or don't, because you are your own person. Do whatever you want. And until next time, stay creative. Peace.